So maybe I'll go again.
Rather than have me call on her, she figures, what the heck, she's going to call my name anyway.
So I learned this sort of later on in my career, but I thought it's been helpful for me. I don't know how many people have heard of PI, which P stands for performance, I stands for image, and E stands for exposure. And when I heard about it, people kind of explain it as, they're equally important in your career. But I actually find from my experience that performance is very, very important when you first start. But once you perform, you're proven, and people know you're a performer. And you continue to have to perform, but I feel exposure gets more and more important later on in your career. And the exposure is also, it's not only who knows you and who you know, who's your mentor. I actually find that people can go find mentors and have good mentors, which is very important. I'm not saying that's important. But I also found later on in my career that it's so important to have sponsors. You're not able to ask for sponsors. Sponsors find you. And they would take it out of, sort of, I don't know, out of their good heart or out of believing in you. They will put their name out there for you. That's more than mentor. And for me, I guess your question was about, I guess I'm maybe not getting to your point.
Well, I think part of the challenge is if we only have a 1% in leadership roles at a certain level, and what we're talking about is the absolute need for sponsorship, not just mentoring, that makes a very small pool of people who understand uniquely where we're coming from. So would your suggestion then be to look outside of people who are just like us?
Well, so my sponsors actually came as a surprise to me. It was at the point where I was thinking about leaving public accounting, and a couple people told me to talk to different leaders. And they pointed me to one person that has no relevance to my career per se. I was based in San Francisco, he's based in San Jose. I was working on private companies, he's in public. There's different industries. So people, when they told me to talk to him, I just thought, okay, I'll give it a shot. And in fact, he became a sponsor that sponsored me to send me to New York, our headquarters, for 2 years to work as a chief of staff for our US tax leader, which is the #1 person, basically the CEO of our tax organization. So, you never know when the sponsor, who is going to be your sponsor until you talk to different people. And I didn't even ask. Sponsor is not something you can request. It comes from what they see in you that you may not even have believed in yourself. I never even thought about talking to him. He would send me to New York. And it came out of nowhere, really. My jaw just dropped when he asked me. So, and we only literally met for half an hour, and that was it. So it's being yourself at every given moment in anyone you talk to, because any one of them could become your sponsor.
They could be your sponsor, your mentor, your advocate, your champion, right? I think that's what it is. And I think for many of us, we get the content, right? That's in us. We know how to do our job really well, but we also need to be salespeople. And so we have to know our audience. That's the homework we all need to do, is you need to know your audience, because if they can't understand you or you're not speaking their language, it doesn't matter that you just produce the best content or work. They won't hear you. And so I think it's very important to learn how to navigate where you want to go, your company, your industry, so they can really hear you. So we do need to self-promote. We need to be salespeople. We need to find the internal champions and mentors. One thing I did find out, everybody likes to talk about themselves. Everybody wants to be asked for advice. They all want to be your leader, your champion, your sponsor, whatever the best name is, and that will help you and help them, right? So I definitely agree with the comments about put yourself out there, find the individuals who will help promote you through, and just learn to navigate. Really learn to navigate to get into that top percent.
So I think the question is, what challenges does the next generation have, right, that we don't have? And what comes to mind is that these days it's such a digital world. We do email, we do phone calls, we do text messages. We're lucky if we get a webinar and you can see their face. So I will tell you that my best trait is my personal skill of being able to connect with each one of you. I'm making eye contact. I'm actually reaching into you, hoping to see you and for you to see me. So with such a digital world these days, it's so hard to master that skill. It's so hard to connect with someone so that they know that you're really looking at them, that you're really wanting to reach them, that I am interested in you, and it's important to me. So I'm really worried about this next generation and how they're going to do that, because they're text messaging, they're doing Facebook, they're doing all these electronic gadget things where all I want to do is go and take a classroom key meeting, right? Because she's going to teach me how to emulate and shadow back that person's behavior so that I can connect with them. How do you do that over email?
One of the things that you guys may have noticed is there's a thing going on here, because back in the back of the room, she's kind of grinning and nodding, because did we not hear about how you really have to understand that you are doing some sort of sales pitch or promotion all the time? You're doing some sort of influencing exercise all the time. And it is much more difficult to build those relationships in this digital environment.
Yeah, I completely agree with the panel. I think these are excellent points. And one of the things that we had done actually as part of our Women's Initiative, specifically in health, was actually create a program, because we were very targeted at understanding how we can, make the next generation of women leaders. But as I think about the program we pulled together, which was basically an 18-month program, taking our, and people had obviously had the performance part of the pie done, but needed that exposure, what we expose them to, which is our top leadership and making sure they had ample time to network, going through our financials. There was actually a course in curriculum to build that expertise. I look at this crowd and I'm like, there's nothing to prevent you, if you see a need, and you have others like you in your company that would like exposure to other women or their leaders, to say, hey, I'd like to start something. So maybe it's an opportunity for you to say, hey, I'd like to interview you, put together some kind of write-up, and then send it to others in our organization. Bring that connection, right? And that gives you exposure, it gives others exposures, to that. So I think about the previous panel and the innovation that's there, you should create the opportunity, is my point. If you see the need, create the opportunity. Find a way to network, and it can always be complimentary because everyone wants to hear about themselves. So.
And it's a great example of leadership.
Concurrent view, because I actually personally don't believe there is a women-specific leadership style. In fact, when I think about a lot of sponsors, and I put a lot of thought into who I will talk to and ask for mentoring and stuff. And I actually really find it fairly easy to find male mentors who have a leadership style that I like to emulate. And a lot of times I also walk into a mentoring relationship and really treat it more as something, clearly the person's more senior than you and has more years of experience, but I really try to walk into a mentoring relationship and treating it as if it's equal, and trying to think through what I have that I can offer back to the person. And a lot of times I meet with my mentors and they'll start grilling me on the industry, and I'll be like doing facts for them, and I'll show them analysis, and After a while we end the conversation and then they go, wow, I learned a lot from you, and I didn't get a chance to answer your questions. And then that's when I ask them for more time. But I also reach, and I have a lot of mentees myself. Every time I meet with a new mentee, I actually tell them from day one, I will tell them this is not mentoring mentee relationship. I don't see it as one side giving to the other. I actually really
You're not the font of all knowledge and
no,
advisor?
nowhere close to that.
Darn.
I really see it as a conversation. And I actually challenge my mentee to bring something that they want to bring to the table. And I find that actually those have been, for me, the best mentoring relationships when it's actually far more of a two-way conversation as opposed to a one-way conversation.